Hi, this is my English retail, step number 6. Okay, so first he started talking about the French and how they have different meanings for the same thing, where we have World Wide Web, they have, their translation from French is World Spider Web. And then he started talking about how the verb is the main component of a sentence. It's the driving force behind it, and it's the word which the entire sentence is built around. And then he started talking about generalizations, that not all constructions will always work, but changing order can change meaning. Moving doesn't always mean it changes the meaning, though. A sentence can still have the same meaning in different orders. Use of space as a metaphor. He started to talk about that, using space, the state of things, and time. And then talked about the use of force as a metaphor. You can force a door, you can force your friend, or you can force yourself, kind of a thing. Then he talked about changing the language from like kill a fetus to having an abortion. Changing the language can show how your feelings are. And then he talked about like the base human intelligence, how we have base intelligence of objects, space, time. It looks like causation. I know that's wrong. And intention. Causation, I think. And this is good for like human interaction. And then we also can use metaphorical and abstract kinds of speech. And then he started talking about words in speech and human interaction. There can be indirect speech, like veiled speech. And then he kind of goes into that. Or we can use direct speech, which both are a way that humans interact with each other, and how it changes varying on how it's used. Then he went on about relationships, how there's family relationships, there's fake family relationships, relationships that act like a family but they aren't related by any blood or legal reason, like sororities or fraternities. Those kind of give the feeling of family, but they aren't actually related to each other. And then there's also, obviously, sexual and mismatched ones, so being too comfortable with your boss, or being not comfortable enough with your boss, but he's comfortable with you. Misreading sexual cues. Stuff like that. Language needs to satisfy two conditions. It needs to convey the actual message, and negotiate and maintain the relationship. So I can't be like, yo, go get me some guacamole, but I can say, you know, it would be awesome if you gave me that guacamole. Still being kind and giving you the option without forcing you, but still conveying the message of what I want and need. And then we use language on two different levels. We use the literal form and the implicated form. The implicated form can be used as kind of like a read between the lines kind of language. We can use it for a polite request, like, will you please get me the guacamole? Or get a message across, which is like conditional. So I'm not forcing you as a person to do something for me because I'm making you. You're doing it because I asked and you can. So not acting like the dominant person. And then the indirect speech is also like veiled speeches, like veiled threats, veiled sexual implications, and stuff like that. Then he used an example from Fargo where he had a 50 sticking out of his wallet to kind of bribe the cop to not give him the ticket and not search his car. Well, that way, because it was veiled, if the cop was a good cop and didn't take the bribe, he could say that it was simply a misunderstanding and he got off scot-free. But if it did work, then he got out of a ticket. So that's like the positive side of veiled speech. And then he ends it with, vagueness is not a mistake of language, but it is a feature that we use to get our own meanings. And if I had, oh no, that's not the step. Sorry, never mind. Ha ha ha, I'm done.